I think your fundamentals are really solid. We're just going to more so focus in on one thing, and I think it's the kind of the key component that's kind of tripping you up. Let's look at some Federer volleys real quick. The big linchpin, like leverage point, has to do with the relationship between the hand and the racket right around contact. I want you to notice the racket face and the racket head, and describe for me what happens immediately after contact. How would you describe the reaction that his racket face and racket head has upon meeting the ball? As the ball hits the racket face, what happens to the racket?
The trajectory of the racket changes.
How?
It goes down and it gets pushed back a lot. It starts to fall
Right.
behind his hand. It was in sync with his hand, and then his hand keeps moving forward. The racket head went
Right.
back.
Good.
And the face is more or less pointed in the direction that it's going to go anyways.
Yep. Is there any kind of deviation in terms of like the angle of the strings or like where they're facing as that happens?
I feel like they generally stay facing the same direction.
Yeah. They change when the ball pushes the racket back, but the overall like flow of the movement and the trajectory of the strings more basically stays in line. But yeah, isn't it interesting that the ball is actually winning here and it like actively pushes the racket back because the racket strings are open and the ball is coming in this way and pushing against the racket also kind of gets shoved downwards. Mm-hmm. And so in real time, it has this effect of looking like he's kind of like scooping the ball, which is not at all what happens. It's actually just the force of the ball coming in contact with his A, relaxed hand, and then B, open racket face. Okay, now compare that to the very next volley that he hits here, another forehand volley. And tell me what the contrast is between the first one and the second one. We're gonna just kind of go back and forth and look at that same moment in time. On which volley do you think his hand was more relaxed?
Maybe the first one.
Why? I agree with you, but
Based on the amount that his racket went back.
yeah, yep. And so that is mostly unspoken, huge dial that can be turned like back and forth. Is exactly how much firmness is in the hand, because the more firm it is, the less the racket recoils, and the less the racket recoils, the more the ball's energy gets sent back in the direction that it came. The firmer the hand is, the less the racket pushes, and so the more energy gets sprung back in the direction that the ball came from. Mm-hmm. And so there's this real-time calculation that has to take place. This is something that has to be developed that I'm guessing is not there. Like the equation's not in your head right now. That has to incorporate the speed of the incoming ball, how fast it's physically moving, the place you'd like the ball to end up after it hits your strings, and then also the height that you're making contact is really important. You mentioned the fact that this one was like more around waist height. So when I saw you hitting forehand volleys, I saw a bunch of volleys that looked like this. How would you describe the relationship between your hand and the racket and the ball compared to what we saw from Roger? Is your hand active or passive?
Active.
And on both of Roger's, even though there was like some nuance between the two of them, could you see how it was passive in both examples? The way we can tell is in both examples, the racket face remained very like steady and consistent. Whereas your racket face is actively hinging through contact, and you're adding energy to the equation. And I remember, the speed I was giving you, you were receiving all the energy you needed. Okay. There wasn't any reason for you to add extra force on top of the force that was already being fed to you. And so when you combine a lot of incoming force with an immovable, racket face, or even actively hinging through contact, it's like an explosive, response off the racket. And it's very hard to control what happens to the ball. Okay, now I'm gonna toss a ball into your racket face, and you're not gonna do anything. You're just gonna stand there.
Okay.
And I want you to, you're only gonna think about one thing, and that's how firm or relaxed your hand is. Nothing's gonna move at all. And I'd like you to start off holding the racket at what you think is about a 5 out of 10. So if 10 is like as hard as you can physically hold the racket, And 0 would be like it's falling out of your hand about halfway up the scale.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Just keep it at a 5. Try to maintain that same pressure. Now, those last 2 are different. I don't think I changed my force, but 2 ago the racket went back a bunch,
Okay.
and on that last one it didn't go back much at all.
Okay.
Did you notice that?
I noticed it. I don't know. I didn't notice the hand changing.
Okay, hey, come here. Here, check it out. Okay, so hand at the red dot. So here's toss 1. Your racket went back to here.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if you started your hand in the same spot. Here's the last one. All right, hand started in the same spot.
Yeah.
And on this one, the racket only went back to there.
Okay.
Now, let's just say that I tossed it with the same amount of force. So what that means is on the second one, you were actively squeezing
harder.
tighter.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So a big part of being a good net player is getting comfortable with the idea that you don't have to fight like contact. You can just let it happen. In fact, oftentimes that's going to be the best result is if you just let the ball like bounce off.
Okay.
Especially in a highly dynamic like situation when somebody's like pounding a shot at you, the less you do, like the more precise you're going to be.
Okay.
And you obviously like it's pretty easy to tell. Like you're like itching to like do stuff to the ball, and we need to, in some situations, kind of reprogram that.
Okay.
Let's try to find that 5.
5 again.
Yep. I was like planning that for like 30 seconds. I was like, just let it happen, man. Just stand there. In fact, close your eyes.
Okay.
Like you're not allowed to watch. And so just keep your hand at a 5. You're still fighting it. Did you feel that? You're like, don't fight it. Just let it hang out there.
Okay.
You're still fighting it.
Am I?
Relax your hand. Yeah, come here. Let me show you what I mean. Here, toss one to me. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna try to be at about a 5,
Okay.
and just get as close as you need to be. Just toss it right into the middle of the racket. All right. So watch the difference between these two. And the racket's gonna go back.
Okay.
But I want you to look at how it returns smoothly back to its original position.
Yeah.
It gets pushed and then it returns. What I mean by fighting it, watch the response of your racket. How it's like jerky on the way back, and so you're like trying to like micromanage what the racket's doing. You need to just let it like find its own way back, but you're like trying to like manipulate like what's happening, or like you're trying to like micro control like what's happening. You need to just let it move around.
Okay.
Does that make sense? We're getting at like the core of why you're struggling to just hit a routine volley. Okay, turn the side, get the racket set. But this time, let's go down to a 2 out of 10 grip. So, like in other words, you're kind of barely holding on to it. So just above like dropping the racket, basically. All right. Oh, good. Hey, nice. I believe that one.
Okay.
That time you just kind of let go. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
You're not trying to like make it do anything. Good. It's a weird feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just letting it. Notice the ball's still going over.
Yeah.
And how much force am I putting into your racket? Maybe 5 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour. So if I hit a 50-mile-an-hour ground stroke and you did this, the ball would probably end up bouncing like somewhere over here, probably. All right, let's bring it up to 5 again. So this is going to be significantly firmer, but not anywhere close to as hard as you can squeeze the racket.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Good. Nice. Good. That's a little bit more natural recoil. There's not grades of like squeeziness. Yeah, good. Now let's go up to 8. So there should be very little recoil now.
Okay.
Almost as hard as you can squeeze. Yeah, good. Yep. Good. I'll back down to 2. Really relaxed. No, I didn't believe that one. That was fake.
That was fake?
Yeah, there's like an initial push, and you're like, look, Ian, I'm relaxed. Out of 2.
Okay.
better. You're still trying to fake me out,
Yeah.
though. There you go. Good. I believe that one. That was a natural recoil. There's a difference between the ball actually pushing the racket and you like twisting the racket back. Okay, now 5 again. Halfway up the scale.
Okay.
Nice. Uh-huh. Now let's do 8 again. Real firm. That was less than the one before. There you go. Yeah. Real tight squeeze. Yeah. Good. Yeah, let's watch those last couple real quick. See how you're faking it? That was more natural.
Okay.
But these are 2s. So there's a big recoil. The ball is pushing the racket a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So here comes the 5s. Watch the difference in the racket's response. See how it's resisting more?
Mm-hmm.
Now I asked you for an 8. You see how the racket went back further?
Yeah.
So you were actually more relaxed. Now that's an actual 8 where you're really squeezing against it.
Okay.
This making sense?
Yep.
So depending on your position, the height, and the speed of the incoming ball,
Yep.
and where you want to place the ball, you're going to use everything from a 1 to a 10.
Okay.
And so you have to be able to calculate this like on the way in
Yeah.
to hit the right spot.
Okay.
To help with this, I'm going to set up the ball machine now real quick,
Okay.
just because it'll be able to feed much more precisely than me. So because we're using a tennis robot, we know that all these feeds are, within 5% or so, more or less going to be the same speed, the same trajectory. And so what we're going to do is run you through a couple tests here to make you be the variable and not the machine. I want you to try to put a volley like inside this basket. Any volley you hit that lands a couple feet short of the basket, what are you going to adjust on the next ball that comes? How are you going to adjust?
Stronger grip.
Yeah, by how much? Let's say the ball lands right here. How much firmer do you think it is between here and there?
Maybe like 1 or 2.
Definitely not 2. Yeah, it's probably 1 or like a gradation of like, yeah, it's probably 1, like between a 5 or a 6, like between here and going there. If you hit here instead, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna loosen my grip. Yeah.
And you're not going to change anything else. You're just that's going to be the only variable. It's just a grip pressure. All right, here we go. Nice. Okay. Okay, good adjustment. That's it right there. Too firm. Good adjustment. That's just right. Too firm. Just right, good. Okay, let's look at those last 2. You have a clear picture of those last 2 in your mind? So what should we see on the second to last one compared to the last one?
Stiff one, not much recoil.
Uh-huh.
And then the last one should be more recoil
Yep.
from the ball hitting the racket.
Let's check it. So here's the second to last one. So what we're going to do here is draw a line right at contact and see what happens after contact. So did the racket face get pushed any further back than where it was at contact?
Not really.
Not really. And what we saw here was this like flexing of the hand like forwards. So this is kind of like the old Charlie kind of like spray volley. Now let's check the the last one. That was basically right at the depth that we wanted. So how different would you say the depth was? The one you missed long was what, long by like 10 feet or something? Pretty
long.
6-8 feet, like something like that. So there's probably, the basket is 9 feet inside the line. There's 18 feet between the service line and the baseline. So you probably missed your target by a solid 15 feet on the one we just looked at a second ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this one actually hit the depth. So there's contact, just as a relative point. So now we're seeing a bunch of wobble here.
Yeah.
So you actually mishit this one a little bit. The racket also gets pushed back. So we know your hand's more relaxed.
Yeah.
And look at the racket face now. You're no longer hinging the racket through contact with your hand. You're just leaving the pitch of the racket face like steady all the way through. So on one of them, your hand like actively like fought the ball, and on this one, it just calmly like maintained.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So this is why I was being so like anal or retentive about like when you were like
Fighting.
yeah, this is the thing. Like this is the mechanism. When the ball gets to your hand is like, I don't like this. That's when the ball starts to spray. And it's the ones where your hand is calm and loose and it maintains the same general direction. Mm-hmm. Again, here's the one where you fought it. Watch the difference with your hand here, how you're flexing through and you're hinging the hand forward actively.
Yeah.
Those are going to be the ones that like really fly on you.
Okay.
So we need to make it more simple and then more passive.
Okay.
Ooh, that was just right out of the gate. Do that one again. A little bit firmer. Okay, a little bit softer. On the right track. A little bit softer. Everything else the same. That's nice, Charlie. That's just the right depth. Little bit firmer. That's just off the frame. That's just right. Yep. Good. Okay. Now the machine's going to keep hitting the same ball. But now you're going to hit this target. How are you going to do that?
At least in the grid. A lot.
A lot. Yeah. The machine's going to give you the same pace. Okay. But you're going to cause like a third, or rather 2/3 less energy come off your racket. All right, let's see you do it. Right idea, right idea. Still too much force. Relax your hand more. There we go. That's getting there. It's getting there. You got to relax even more. Let the ball win. Yeah, nice. Good. Yeah, let the ball win. Don't fight it. Good, yep. Just let it bounce off your strings passively. It's too firm, too firm. Still too firm. Relax your hand more. Good, it's getting there, but even more. Nice job, nice job. Way too firm, way too firm. Nice. Let's look at those last two. This is the one you like squeezed on two shots ago. Watch the difference in the racket. How firm it was. Now watch the recoil on this one. You see the difference? This is about training yourself to do nothing.
To do less.
Yeah.
To relax.
Here's the firm one.
Yeah.
You see how it's like the racket is like just stopping?
Yeah.
And now watch the difference here and the racket's response. See the difference there? We need to get this to be comfortable for you. And right now, it's obviously not your comfort your comfort zone.
Right.
You got to really kind of fight yourself to let the racket actually be passive.
Right.
So let's do one more drill just for fun, I want to see you try it. We're gonna leave the machine exactly the same.
Okay.
And we're gonna alternate between targets now. So we're going to start from this target. This is target 1. Then immediately after, you're going to try to hit this target. And then immediately after, you're going to try to hit this target. All right? 1, 2, 3. We're going to keep going until you hit the right depth sequentially at least 2 or 3 times. Ooh, nice, nice. Now the middle one, a little firmer. Yep, and now the third one, a little firmer again. Wow, good start, man, good start. Back to number 1. Yeah, really good effort, really good effort. Little firmer. Yep, and now a little firmer again. Okay, back to number 1, really soft. Nice, now a little firmer. It was just off the frame, and now a little firmer again. Nice, good depth on that one. Real soft. Yep, a little firmer. Nice, now a little firmer again. Oh, that's nice. Hey, let's look at those 3. Those 3 are really nice. So we should see very distinct differences here. Here's the softest one.
Yeah.
Big recoil. Like that was super passive looking, really relaxed. Now here's the middle one. We should see it recoil, but not as much. Yeah, that was kind of like the Roger ones. Look at how steady your racket face is staying now. And now here's the third one. This should recoil even less than the second one. Yep, good. And there's a little bit of that like squeeze sneaking in there.
Yeah.
Because I literally, I'm giving you basically the deepest target you're ever gonna aim for. I don't mind a little bit of that sneaking in, but let's be careful with the hinging. So this is fantastic. This is exactly the gradient, that we're looking for.
Makes a lot of sense.